Hi, I'm Scott Hamilton, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review for your ears, talking about the most recent Mutant movie, and the last one for 20th Century Fox, I assume, The New Mutants. While getting ready for this review, I realized this was the only X-Men related movie I haven't seen in theaters. And part of that was for COVID. Part of that was, well, I don't know. The original trailers, I thought this was an interesting idea for a movie. It looked more like a horror movie than a superhero movie. I was kind of psyched. Well, and then everything happened, and it kind of came out, and then it kind of whimpered, and on a $67 to $80 million budget, it grossed $48 million and made it to HBO Max and streaming services pretty quick. And got a really great review on 4K. Which, if this is a movie I'm going to add to my collection, and since I own every other X-Men related movie, including that terrible Wolverine Origins, maybe I will own it, because it actually is not bad. And that is the short version of, this is better than Dark Phoenix, I will give it that, and it's kind of a whimper of a way to go out of the X-Men not being with Fox anymore, but it wasn't terrible. It really wasn't. So to get a little bit more into it, this is one of the movies that got caught in the maelstrom that happened when Disney was going to acquire 20th Century Fox Studios. The film was mostly done, then the changeover was happening, and then afterward the director came back and finished it without any reshoots or anything in March of last year, and then it was released theatrically in August, right in the middle of all of the pandemic stuff. And it just, there's only so much. This was originally supposed to come out in 2018, by the way. But again, because of the acquisition and everything, it got lost in the shuffle, so to speak. And probably would have worked better had it come out before Dark Phoenix. I don't know. I did a review of Dark Phoenix after I saw it in the theater. That's one I do not own and doubt I will. But go check out the podcast on that review. So from the time I saw the trailer to the time this eventually came out, I didn't care about it much anymore, but you've got a bunch of younger stars in with Alice Braga and a couple other people making, mutants coming into their own kind of movie, a bit of a horror slant to it. That's an interesting take on what we've seen in all the X-Men movies so far. Anya Taylor-Joy, really hot right now. She's a great actress. She's been in some really great things, and this came out at just the right time, and it was interesting to see her play a Russian character. I guess that was the accent she was going for. The movie is not bad. It is an X-Men movie without really any X-Men till the end. It does kind of chug along. It's not exactly slow. It's not exactly a long movie either. 94 minutes, it just kind of chugs along and then has some really great points to it. There's some interesting sidelines they take, some interesting, I don't want to get into spoilers, but there's some interesting ideas they get into as far as treating mental health issues, or are they superhero issues? And is the scientist doctor good or bad? And, it's fine. I watched the whole movie. I didn't look at my watch. I didn't pick up my phone. I didn't pause it to go walk the dogs. I watched it from beginning to end and went, not bad. Like a lot of superhero movies, it kind of descends into a CG fest at the end with a creature that's mostly smoke. But it comes off well. Matter of fact, the fight scenes and the action scenes in the entire movie come off very well. Like, the special effects are good. The choreography is good. You've got actors doing their own stunts and things. The cast is good all around. This was based on New Mutants, which was a Claremont book back in the day, if you're a comic fan. And I don't remember it and don't know how close it comes to, But overall, when it was over, it just kind of felt generic. It ended well. It could have led to more. I know this is the last thing we're going to see produced, but although Marvel has done stranger things by, picking actors out of other timelines or whatever and bringing them into the Marvel Universe, so we may see these characters in some way, shape, or form make it into the Marvel Universe. Who knows? But now that a lot of people have HBO Max, this is available on it, so go check it out. It's definitely worth watching, especially if you're a fan of such things. If you're a fan of superhero movies in general, this may not totally scratch that itch because it's not very superhero-y. It's more young adults and kind of it's not an insane asylum, but that's what, it feels like a rickety old asylum. And they're dealing with coming into these powers. Most of them are in there because, people were afraid of them. And it goes down those roads and discussing some of these things. But the movie could have gone much deeper into all that stuff. It wants to be kind of light on its feet and a little more thriller horror movie oriented than any of the others that have come before it. So it gets points for doing all that and being competent. It was well made. It's definitely not terrible. And the 4K stream looked really great. So I imagine the 4K disc looks incredible. It really, lots of HDR highlights, a lot of details, because there's a lot of close-ups. There's a lot of conversations. This was trying to be a real movie, not just a science fiction superhero movie. And in that aspect, it does okay. You'd like it to move a little faster in places. You'd like a little bit to go a little further in some of the violence. All in all, it was better than I thought it was going to be. Didn't have to run right out and add it to the collection of all the other X-Men movies I have on disc, but yeah, it wasn't bad at all. And it'll be interesting to see if any of these characters make it into the MCU. We've got Black Widow and Loki coming very soon, so the MCU is going to be cranking back up, and they have more than hinted that they'll be dropping in mutant kind of things going forward. So keep your eyes peeled for all those Easter eggs now that the X-Men are back with Marvel. Very excited about that fact. I'm Scott Hamilton. My website is therockfile.com. Thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing, and listening. Have a spectacular day.